All I know, yeah, yo. Yeah, yo.
Hey guys, isnortbooze here for Betcoin Poker, and this is Tipsy Tips. Today we're going to talk about triple barreling. Triple barreling is an advanced play where basically you bluff all three streets, the flop, the turn, and the river. It's a play that should be used very sparingly, only in well thought out situations, because for the most part, if someone's flatting the flop and they're flatting the turn, they've got a hand that's good enough to flat the river, if not better. Obviously, you know, that's a situational thing, and things can change along the way, but basically, you know, shouldn't be triple barreling too often. And today we're going to go through a little bit of the thought process that goes into finding those spots in which to triple barrel. So here you can see I have got 5-5 under the gun. Now a fold under the gun here with 5-5 is definitely okay, but I do like to raise here. The blinds are pretty high, so I'm happy to just steal those. There's also a few short stacks behind me that I'd be willing to flip against if they 3-bet shove. And also, you know, raising under the gun, you're in a good spot to c-bet if a flop looks favorable to my range. And then, of course, if I hit a set on the flop, I can, you know, definitely try and grab some value out of that. So I go ahead and open up under the gun here with my 5s. And everyone folds except for the big blind. So let's go to the flop. So you can see the flop here, King, Queen, Jack with 2 hearts. The flop definitely hits my range harder than the big blind's range. Plus I've got the advantage of position. So he checks to me, and I come out firing half the pot in the hopes to just take it down right here. Now he does end up calling. Now when he calls here, I think if he had a hand like 2-pair or even a set, he'd probably be raising here. On most flops, a check call is fairly polarized with either a monster hand or some type of draw. But due to the board texture on this one, I think he's going to want to protect his big hands and call more with medium strength hands. And I also feel like most players would check raise a big draw here. I don't know this guy that well, but generally speaking, I think most players would be check raising if they had a big draw here. But let's go to the turn. The turn comes 10 of hearts. So he checks to me again. Now, it's very easy for me to rep an ace here after my under the gun raise. You know, there's a lot of aces in my range. I could also have a flush, but since most of the big hearts are already on the board, it's hard for me to rep a flush here because it's unlikely I'm raising under the gun with ace-9 of hearts or even worse. And, you know, obviously I could have ace-jack of hearts, but, you know, he's never going to put me on exactly a royal flush. So, you know, I do bet another half-pot bet. Now, keep in mind, you know, my 5-5, I'm no longer playing here. Obviously, my 5-5 is no good. Even if I hit a miracle 5 on the river, I'm likely dead. So I bet half the pot, and he calls. Now, before when he called, I was thinking he had a mid-range hand. Now when he calls, I think his hand is kind of polarized. The medium strength hands here are like a weak flush. I feel like he'd be raising a weak flush here in case I happen to have the ace of hearts, which is definitely possible. Now he could have an ace here, but you got to think about what aces he's calling the flop with. He'd definitely call the flop with, you know, an ace-king, ace-queen, if not raise. But you know, those hands, ace-king, ace-queen, he probably would have raised with pre-flop to begin with. You know, if he had like a hand like ace-x without a flush draw, he probably would have folded the flop. You know, there's no reason for him to call the flop with a hand ace-9, ace-7, ace-6. That wouldn't make that much sense here. So at this point, I've kind of narrowed him down to a hand like any 9. He could have king 9, he could have queen 9, you know, that he's just not quite ready to let go. Maybe he's hoping I'll fold, I'll check on the river, and his 9 will be good. He could also have a hand like 10 jack with the jack of hearts, which, you know, he'd possibly call on the flop with. And then other hands that that he could be calling here with are just monster hands, like any nut flush, any ace, ace of hearts with another heart. He definitely has more ace X heart hands than I do with my under the gun raise. So the river comes, and it is a meaningless 7 of spades. And he checks again. Now that he has checked the river, I've pretty much eliminated the nut flush from his range. If he flatted the nut flush on the turn to disguise his hand, he sure as hell is not going to risk giving up that value on the river by checking. So now we've really narrowed his range down to a few select hands that he can't really call a bet with. So we fire one more barrel. We make it 2/3 of the pot this time. Now betting 2/3 of the pot here definitely looks more bluffy than a smaller bet, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The triple barrel is too strong of a play for him to try and bluff catch with the holdings we've narrowed him down to. So we bet 2/3 of the pot, and we do get it through. So we take that down. It's a nice sized pot for deep in a tournament. Now the triple barrel is an extremely strong play, but like I said, it should be used very sparingly. You see all the analysis it took for it to make sense on this hand. Most hands you're just not going to have the opportunity to bust this play out. I mean, you might go 10 straight tournaments without a single triple barrel, and if you do, it's probably because you were thinking things through properly and just couldn't find a profitable spot to make that move. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm isnortbooze for Betcoin Poker, and have a fantastic day.